us. And that simply started with me reaching out to coaches I've worked with in the past through schools and just kind of tapping into that network. So it really is that simple to just get the ball rolling. It just needs to start with a conversation. And as Adam said before, for those who've been on here, you just have to get them on a call with Adam, and Adam really does all of the diving into the nitty-gritties. So that really went well, and we got the club director some more information, and she asked for like a specific presentation deck to take back to the board of that club. So we're really excited about that, and I think there's been a lot of other really good conversations going on for WaveOn and the athletic trainers. So if anybody has questions about that process, if you haven't done that yet or anything like that, feel free to ask too.
Matt, just because you are on here and concussions are obviously a hot button, it's kind of the new pink. Give the group just an update on who you are, what you're doing, and how you can be a resource to the other athletic trainers, and how you've been successful just kind of focusing on the concussion side of the world of athlete management and athletic training.
No, you're fine. Yeah, so my name is Matt. I own the virtual Midwest Concussion Clinic. It's a clinic that I've built over the course of the last 6 years that treats concussions for people of all ages virtually. Back in January, took it 100% virtual, so I don't deal with any in-person visits anymore. We work on visual and vestibular integration, lifestyle modifications, return to work and return to learn protocols, nutrition, vitamins, and supplement work. I had a provider recently tell me that I'm an instruction manual for concussions, which is she meant it as a really nice thing. For me, I'd throw the instruction manual out, so it's really kind of frustrating for me to hear. But after talking through it, it makes more sense. That basically I help people who are navigating their own concussion recovery, whether it's acute or persistent post-concussion symptoms, that navigate their kind of way through life to help with the rehab side of things, provide support, talk about how to communicate with people. I've also started to branch into a little peek behind the curtains in 2026 is the Midwest Concussion Education. So I'm going to try to put out a lot more education for providers, athletic trainers, PTs, chiropractors, to go through and educate and update what concussions truly are, and fill in the missing gap on how we treat them. So that's a little bit about what I do.
Matt, as you talk, and remind me, as an athletic trainer, we're asked about licensure every single day.
Mm-hmm.
With the Midwest Concussion Clinic, what are your boundaries of service delivery?
So to go through a traditional rehab aspect, exercises, sets, and reps, you have to be located inside the state of Indiana. And this is where, or have a VPN that says you're in the state of Indiana. I have a couple patients that do it that way. I don't like doing it that way. Just not legally. Talking with my lawyer, I have to verify that you're physically located in the state of Indiana to do the rehab aspect.
Mm-hmm.
To consult, to help with the lifestyle modifications, return to learn, return to work protocols, the support, the mental health side, the general education side can be anywhere within the continental United States. Because it's more of a, in that situation or that instance, I work on as a neuroscience coach and concussion consulting. So it's not specific sets and reps, it's calming exercises, things you can do. I do offer a concierge service that I will coordinate with their treating providers. That if I work with a lot of PT clinics around the area, even locally, that, hey, we have a complex patient, let me come in, take a look at them, and then provide what I would do, my 2 cents on treatment plans, and try to make sure that they're getting the support from all areas of their treatment team that they need.
What would be, I'll use the word best way, that we can work with you on a national level, right? As we continue to grow, and having you in that support service role. You give us some guidance.
Yeah, probably the best way early on is to essentially train the athletic trainers on some updates in concussion management. I will tell you that now, again, I've learned that I'm getting into the middle ages of career field, which is not what I ever expected. But even, 13 years ago, things were completely different than what they were 2 years ago, or completely different than what they are now. So we are, when it comes to medical professionals, we are the number one when it comes to concussion management in terms of the education that we get. Even your neurologists, even your your physiatrists, your PTs, your OTs, they get very little in terms of actual education on concussions in general. So, which is a sad part when you start looking at every physical therapy or occupational therapy clinic has a concussion person. Their training is not near what ours is as a basic level. Mm-hmm. So I think in terms of kind of helping the WaveOn national world, it would be to sit down with everybody that you bring on from a provider standpoint and saying, okay, this is what concussions should be handled. This is the updates and statistics and why we do it the way that we do, and educate the providers to ensure that they're getting the right things. And then the easiest way from a national perspective is to be a consultant. You got somebody that comes on, you got a complex person you're working with, somebody that, hey, recovery's not going as well. They're presenting differently than I've ever thought before. It's an extra set of eyes to sit down and meet with the athletic trainer, talk about their specific treatment plans. And then I'm also available to meet with providers and parents.
No, that's helpful. One of the things that, like, the vision of WaveOn Health is bundling the extremely fragmented ecosystem that individual athletic trainers have to juggle in their mm-hmm. daily clinical lives, but then also what athletes have to juggle from the internet, friends and family, to whatever type of books. We've introduced you and the rest of the team to Headquarters, which is mm-hmm. that concussion management platform. I want to get your perspective from the athletic trainer. You have your own concussion clinic. Is that a viable partnership, and how can we move forward with both?
It's a good partnership. The way I kind of talk about like Headstrong or any of the other companies that are out there, again, concussions are a hotbed thing. So there are a ton of management platforms out there. Sway Medical, we've done Headstrong, we've talked about Head Check Health. Like, there are a bunch of them that are out there. So when we start looking at like how you can implement those are great when you're trying to build treatment exercises. The Wavy, the exercise platform that we have, it's great when you're trying to build sets and reps. But even a rehab building plan or an exercise building platform is only as good as the person that knows what they're doing. Yep. Everybody can give 4-way ankle bands, and everybody can give, basic hip mobility and strength. But if you're sitting here trying to prescribe, certain sets and reps of 180 beats a minute of vestibular, the VOR X2 exercise, it's like, okay, first of all, that's way too complex. Second of all, that's way too fast. But because it's preset in that system, we know we can use it. I wouldn't train anybody outside of a figure skater on that kind of speed and that kind of intensity. So, they're all great things. I like the check-in aspect and the reminder aspects of things where you can send and push exercises out and say, hey, have you done the exercises today? And getting the daily subsymptomatic questionnaires that are involved, especially if you're doing it on a massive level. My clinic's built on one-to-one, right? I am treating people one-to-one. So when I do all those things, it doesn't make sense for me to use them in my clinic because I'm doing all of those things already. Now, if you're an athletic trainer at a 6A high school where you've got, in our area, 6A is big. I don't know anybody else. In our area, like if you've got a 6A high school and you're trying to navigate 30 people with a concussion every hour, like that's harder, where those kind of systems work into play. So I think they're great. I think they are definitely a good option, especially for navigating multiple places. But it's only as good as the education that the provider has.
No, that's really helpful. Alicia, just because you're on the call and Clovis is testing it, it's only going to work when you have a concussion. So do you have any data points yet, or are we still looking at the platform?
Yeah, so I've had a couple athletes with concussions that I have utilized the platform with. And like Matt was saying, it is really helpful to have those reminders, to have those check-ins, um, for me to be able to monitor the athlete and be like, hey, I see you haven't done your exercises today. I need you to do that. Or, hey, you haven't done your symptom check. I can't progress you until I know how you're feeling. Um, so I think in like the high school athlete world, I think it's a good tool to have, because they're always on their phones and their phones are always accessible. Um, but I do agree, like the exercises are preset. You can edit them, but if you don't know what you're doing, um, it could be more detrimental than helpful. So I think definitely educating the providers is the way to go. But I do like the platform as far as what it is capable of.
I think one of the hardest parts of understanding the rehab aspect of concussions is the lack of immediacy of the damage that you might be causing. You know, if you're doing, again, I'll go back to an ankle sprain. Like if you're doing balance work and, you know, all of a sudden we hit neurofatigue or we hit some problem with the treatment protocol, pain is the receptor that comes on immediately. You know, when you're dealing with a concussion patient, number one, the symptom may not present right away. If we hit overload, a lot of times the adrenaline will spike and somebody won't get that feedback until an hour, 2 hours post exercise where you caused the issue. The second thing is, you know, the biggest difference between, causing pain is never a great thing with an ankle injury, but at the same time, the whole goal of concussion rehab is to provoke symptoms, but not provoke symptoms too much. So we have to find that the presets can be really challenging, where it's like, hey, I want you to do 3 sets of 30, where today they could do that. But if they go to do it tomorrow, they may not have it because they did too much the day before, or they took a test that they didn't tell you about right beforehand. So it's really hard to take presets and even protocols that with my rehab plans for an athlete, you know, we're at stage 2 in the rehab process. This is what I want to do, X, Y, and Z, and it's going to stay relatively consistent throughout. You start on exercise number 1, you move to 2, you move to 3, you move to 4, and with any athlete, if they get hurt, like pain or discomfort, they're going to stop. Where building a rehab plan for somebody that you're not monitoring from a brain injury standpoint can be really, really tough. You know, it's, you put somebody in the corner with a 4-way ankle band and they just stop doing it, where you put somebody in the corner with the 4 basic saccadic movements and now all of a sudden they're so dizzy they can't see straight and they fall off the treatment table. Like that's a challenge with those kind of applications and those kind of programs.
What this is literally, I'm thinking of this as you guys are talking, what our next action item and kind of milestone is. It's easy for us to talk as clinicians about the value, about the benefit. It's how do we take that rich level of expertise, knowledge, and let the public know that this is all part of what WaveOn Health has for their sports organization and their school, which has never really been accessible in that bundled perspective. So it's more of a marketing / sales discussion of what we need to do to share what you guys just talked about. From these tools are good if and when they're applied appropriately. Oh, and guess what? We have the right team on the back end to apply and disseminate that information appropriately. So we have to think about that. I'll open that up for ideas if anyone has one, but that is kind of a marketing question to figure out what would be that strategy to bundle it in without talking too clinical with coaches or athletic directors, because it's way over their head. That's not what their knowledge is, but they all know the importance of the, you know, concussion management from a health and safety perspective, but also from the performance of, we want your athletes to be back in the game. So you're putting the best product on the field. And we're one of those resources to help you do that without just ignoring a concussion and hope it goes away. Or like some people say, we'll just go in a dark room for 2 days. Like that's not the latest science and technology that's out there. No.
I will tell you, you just hit on the head the biggest struggle I've had over the last 7 years. Nobody cares about concussions until something happens. That's 100% what it boils down to. You know, we can say, like, as parents, I want to protect my kids, but if I were to ask my wife, you know, how big of a deal concussions are, she would, before me doing this, she would have no idea.
Yeah.
So it's not something that everybody wakes up and goes, you know what, I want to know about your concussion protocols and all the treatment that you have for this today. It's not realistic. So one of the challenges we run into is I do a lot of the webinars, a lot of the free marketing stuff in the hopes that somebody eventually, if something happens, will Google, you know, still having headaches after car accident, and I'll show up. And so it's a hard thing to market to people who don't necessarily want that on their radar. So when you're talking to organizations, to ADs, the easiest one to talk about is liability. Not having that available to them is sit here and say, all right, well, liability wise, you know, if you're not taking care of this or not treating it, you got to make sure that you have all of these things set in place. I also find that when you're marketing to parents or coaches, statistics are really, really scary. If you start talking about the mortality rate of second impact syndrome is roughly 90%, like they tend to get a little bit more scared with that, or the fact that a concussion will increase suicide risk by 1.5 times for somebody under the age of 18, 46% increase in mental health diagnoses after a concussion. Like, you start talking about statistics and everybody starts listening a little bit more.
The reason I brought up the performance aspect of it and putting the best product on the field or the court, that's what people want, right? They want the sexiness of being faster, stronger, more explosive. What's not sexy, and they've never been sexy, are injuries. Nobody wants to talk about injuries. They think they're never going to happen, and then when they do, they just want to be reactive. And that's the challenge of not just what we're talking about, but that's always been the challenge of athletic training, is we're creating this resource that is supporting athletes from the first onset of discomfort all the way through a catastrophic head injury. And it's just letting them know that the value is having this consistent access to us. So we're doing it. I mean, we're making the right moves, but I think this is a really poignant conversation about what we can present to the market in 2026. Because concussions aren't going to stop. There's more athletes now than ever before. They're getting more explosive. They're getting stronger. So there's going to be a greater risk for that type of service. And I think if we just let them know it's not extra, it's part of this comprehensive solution, because we're gaining so much interest, like Hannah said, from a soccer adult league in New Mexico that has 3,000 members, to the volleyball club that has 500 players. And that's just the start. I mean, that Wisconsin sport or youth soccer association had like 55,000 athletic trainers. And I'm going to talk with that league director after the new year. So there's a lot of good things that were in the works, but I think this is really poignant. Does anyone else have any other thoughts just around concussion? We'll kind of focus on that. It is the end of the year. Everyone's already checked out for the holidays, but we want to give everyone the opportunity. Does anyone have any additional thoughts about what Matt and I were talking and what Alicia brought up?
Is there any way, I know getting probably the news involved is a tough battle, but I think that would be a great way to kind of like reach on like a national level, like show as athletic trainers how we have evolved into more of a healthcare practitioner above a first responder role.
I'm going to give you my opinion. Sorry, James. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead. No.
I was going to say, I'm going to give you my opinion, which obviously is biased because it's what I've been working on. Today, there was that big article out of Minnesota, and it was just talking about the traditional model of we need more athletic trainers in high schools. Okay, like it's stale. We've all heard that message. There just has to be a new addressable opportunity when we go to the media, because the media has heard the same thing again and again and again. And it can't be like one athletic trainer and it can't be one company. It really has to be this collaborative model. On a fortunate level for all of us, I am in discussions with the new leadership team with the NATA. And that was actually my conversation with them. It's like, this has to be a collaborative effort. You guys already have stakeholders. We are literally creating the solution that everyone has always talked about, but no one knew how to implement it. How can we work together? So NATA, how can we go to the media with a joint message around supporting athletes in this real access model? It's not about standing on the sidelines of every practice or tournament or game. It's now about providing what Matt and Alicia and I were talking about. If someone hits their head, how do they get viable treatment without having to spend a ton of time and a ton of money in a system that doesn't even know how to really handle them? You guys know my personal story, right? I had a traumatic brain injury from a bike crash. And after I was in the hospital for 4 hours, the doctors came up to Alicia, my wife, and they're like, okay, his vitals are stable. We don't need to drain his brain. We're sending him home. He's discharged. And she was like, what? What are we supposed to do? And literally the ER doc said, we don't know what to do. You're welcome to look, but we don't know if it's going to work. We need to fill this bed. Like, you got to go. And fortunately, well, I didn't know Matt at the time, but there was another athletic trainer in California, Stacy Ritter. Some of you might know her from just the industry. She said, don't worry, Alicia, we'll treat Adam like a professional athlete. And here I am. Super fortunate. It's all about access. And I think that's the message we're obviously portraying. We're trying to let people know about it. But if you guys have other connections, maybe from the media in your local market, or you have large sports organizations, we're just creating this new model that athletes don't need to spend a ton of time in an unnecessary sick care system. We can help them right out of the gate. So hopefully that helps, James, that there's an opportunity with the media, but we can't just say, well, let's go to the media, because it has to be a bigger conversation and infrastructure and resource behind what the execution of that discussion will be.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I think that's very great points. What, like, I know, like, fear is a big marketer, and there are plenty of, like, you go to the Buffalo Bills player. Unfortunately, I had DeMar Hamilton. Thank you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm recovering from a concussion from October. So
I know somebody.
Exactly. Yeah, contact Matt. We'll get you and Matt in contact.
appreciate you. And yeah, I might take you up on that. There are so many examples of injuries that we're there for. What we need is, I think, is a pivot to injuries we are not there for. Like recently, we had a person die at a high school, basically because nobody, and even if they did know CPR, it might not have made a lick of difference. But that's where I think we can also benefit. If you're an AT/CPR instructor, that can go on the platform as well.
Yeah, almost like an educator or a consultant to that local community. Yeah, it's interesting you say that. That actually came up yesterday. Was it with Alicia? I mean, not Alicia, sorry, with Ashley, Hannah? There was someone that was asking us if we could give education to their school. No, it was with Russ. It was with Jenny, who's an athletic trainer in Missouri, who is pretty involved with the state organizations. And she said a lot of their schools are now reaching out to the athletic trainers to create EAPs because they have no idea how to do it because it's pushed down from the state association. And those schools that don't have athletic trainers, they literally have no resource. So I think you're hitting on another point, Jim, that there's a way to create an educational tool as well. Because, I mean, the thing is, there's what, AT, it's not AT Cares. What's the other thing the NATA created? It's not AT Cares because that's for the athletic trainers, but they have a resource center. I just forget what that platform is called. Like, there's a whole website that a lot of that stuff is on there, but no one really knows how to find it. So they built it, they put it together, but they don't do a lot of marketing to the general public. So I just forget the name of it. It'll come up.
Is that on
Marketing-
nata.org?
It's one of the tools the NATA put together for the athletic population.
I think it's the NATA Educate. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, they had like posters that they would give athletic
Mhm.
trainers to put in their athletic training rooms. I just cannot remember the name of that, like that campaign. But I know there's a ton of information out there. Just they don't know what to do with it. Well, like I said, it's the holiday time. Is there any other major questions or ideas or thoughts that we should run into the new year with? Or just let's give each other a high five and we'll reconvene after the holiday. Cool.
High five works, but it was at your own risk.
There you go. That's exactly what it was. I knew there was something. And there's a lot of information within it, but no one knows how to reach it. Like no one knows where it is.
Right. Exactly.
Marketing's expensive.
Yeah. Exactly.
Marketing is expensive. I had a discussion with the NATA president a couple weeks ago about I've been an athletic trainer for over 20 years. And I honestly can tell you, I can count on a handful of times how much marketing I've seen in Pennsylvania for the athletic training profession. So I'm like, who is dropping the ball here in 20 years? So she acknowledged that fact, which was awesome. So I think I foresee a better future.
Yeah, like I said, they're interested in what we're actually doing. I'm going to show them a demo after the new year, and there's a way that we can get in their hands. And that it's, you guys all know, it's a collaborative effort. It's taking the right resources and the right people and having the execution of the model. So from all the people on the call that have helped build the platform to giving feedback, like Alicia, every time you give us feedback, it's helping our team improve it. So keep it coming. And next year is going to be fun. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a smooth ride in the park, but there's a lot of positive stuff that's happening. A lot of stuff, positive stuff. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, everyone have a good holiday from Christmas to New Year's to any holiday we celebrate. But let's hit it after the January 1st. Everybody have a good day. We'll talk soon.
Have a good one, guys.
See you guys.
Thanks.
See ya.
Super awesome holidays.
Just because we're on here, I'll end it. Hold on.
I'm gonna close the door real quick because my dog's going nuts.